Hey guys, let's get more news from Miami Heat, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Jeff Teague chooses James Harden as number 3 shooting guard ahead of Dwayne Wade. The consensus is former Miami Heat Dwayne Wade is the number 3 shooting guard in NBA history behind Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. Yet former All-Star Jeff Teague thinks otherwise. He made a bold claim recently that James Harden had a better career than Wade. Teague made the comments while appearing on an episode of the OG's podcast with former Heat players Udonis Haslem and Dwayne Wade. While Wade has the advantage with 3 championships, Teague said Harden was more impressive because of his numbers. Harden is the number 3 shooting guard of all time, Teague said. Me just watching his game going against him, competing against him. James Harden when he was by himself in Houston, bro, they was going to the Western Conference Finals every year. They were doing all this stuff and he was unbelievable, averaging August 8, 35. Teague said Wade's legacy benefited greatly from when he teamed up with LeBron James for the Heat from 2010 to 14. They won 2 titles and 4 straight appearances in the NBA Finals. He was unguardable, Teague said of Harden. I ain't trying to disrespect D. Wade, but before Bron got there, Miami was competing with us, the Hawks. Then Bron came and it's a different stratosphere. Chandell Richardson covers the Miami Heat for Inside the Heat, a Fan Nation channel, for Sports Illustrated. He has covered the NBA since 2010. Milwaukee Bucks coach Doc Rivers previously stated that the Los Angeles Clippers consulted him before the team decided to trade for James Harden in a blockbuster deal with the Philadelphia 76ers earlier this season. On Monday night, in the aftermath of the Clippers' loss to the Bucks, head coach Tyronn Lue confirmed that Rivers played a role in Harden landing in Los Angeles. During his post-game press conference, Lue was asked about his communication with Rivers, who was not coaching at the time, ahead of the Harden trade. I talked to Doc a lot about the James Harden situation and just getting his feedback about what he thought worked, what didn't work, said Lue. He just thought it'd be a great trade for us. Pretty much just a no-brainer. Get a point guard who's been an MVP, 1 scoring titles, 1 assist titles, he's done it all. Lue complimented Harden on his willingness to sacrifice to win, noting how he's often running pick and rolls to find open looks for star teammates Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Rivers, of course, coached Harden on the 76ers from 2021 to 23, so it stands to reason that Lue would be seeking his opinion on the 10-time All-Star. They made calls and I was one of the guys who said it would be a great deal for them because I thought he fit them better than he would fit the Sixers team. I think he's a perfect fit there, said Rivers of the Harden trade in February, via Clutch Points. In 54 games this season, Harden is averaging 17.4 points, 8.3 assists, and 5.1 rebounds while shooting 40.9% from three-point range. Jimmy Butler takes over late. Heat hold off Pistons 118-110 for 11th win in 14 games. Jimmy Butler took over late, and it was exactly what the Miami Heat needed. Butler scored 15 of his 26 points in the fourth quarter. Bam Adebayo and Duncan Robinson each scored 18 and the Heat topped the Detroit Pistons 118-110 on Tuesday night. Terry Rozier scored 17 points. Caleb Martin scored 15 and Jamie Jaquez Jr. scored 11 for the Heat, who are 11-3 in their last 14 games. Miami, 35-26, moved into 6th in the Eastern Conference, a half game behind number 4 Orlando, 36-26, and number 5 New York, 36-26, plus a tiebreaker ahead of number 7 Philadelphia, 35-26. These next 21 games, there's probably going to be a lot of these, Heat coach Erik Spoelstra said. It's just the way it's going right now. Everybody's fighting for playoff positioning. The biggest shot came with 22 seconds left, when Butler hit his first and only three-pointer of the night to seal the game. Butler now has at least 1 steal and 1 3 in 14 consecutive games, the longest such streak of his career and 1 game behind Rafer Alston, 2004, for the longest in Heat history. Butler is shooting 51% from the field, a career best by far 46% from three-point range and 86% from the line. We just do whatever's necessary right now, Spoelstra said. Cade Cunningham scored 23 points for Detroit, which fell back into a tie with Washington for the NBA's worst record at 9-52. Simone Fontecchio scored 22 for the Pistons, Jaden Ivey had 16, Jalen Duren scored 14 and Isaiah Stewart added 13. Miami was again without Tyler Herro, foot, and Kevin Love, heel, and Josh Richardson, shoulder, will have season-ending surgery on Wednesday. Some help is on the way. The Heat agreed to terms Tuesday with veteran guard Patty Mills, with that deal likely to be finalized Wednesday. Detroit plays 9 of its next 10 games at home, including each of the next 6, a stretch capped by back-to-back games against the Heat on March 15 and 17. We feel like we're much better than we were earlier in the year. That's just with continuity, Pistons coach Monty Williams said. We feel like the guys we have, as they learn the league and learn how to defend, that's part of the maturation and process of developing young players. The teams hadn't met since opening night of the season, a 103-102 Miami win in which Cunningham had a straightaway three-pointer bounce off the rim at the buzzer. And this one was almost just as much of a nail-biter for Miami. It was 61-60 Miami at the half. The Heat led by 10 after the first quarter, but Detroit controlled much of the second quarter and the Pistons led by as many as 4 in the third, before Miami peeled off 15 consecutive points. That spurt took only 2.5 minutes. Rozier made a pair of three-pointers during the run, including the one that capped the burst and put Miami up 80-69 midway through the third. Detroit was undeterred, getting within one possession, 3 points or less, 7 times the rest of the way. But the Pistons never got the lead back. Robinson hit a three-pointer, Miami's first of the fourth quarter in 10 tries, with 2:05 left for a 111-105 lead, and then Butler sealed it with 5 straight points in the final minute. We're trending in the right direction, Martin said. Miami Heat reportedly expected to sign veteran guard Patty Mills. The Miami Heat are reportedly expected to sign veteran guard Patty Mills. According to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, the Heat are set to make a late-season addition to the roster. The Heat have lacked depth at point guard this season since the departure of Kyle Lowry at the trade deadline. Terry Rozier, who was acquired in the Lowry trade, is the only true point guard on the roster. The Heat also have combo guard Tyler Herro, but he is still dealing with a knee injury that has sidelined him recently. Mills has a wealth of playoff experience. He has played 95 career playoff games, spanning from the Portland Trail Blazers, San Antonio Spurs, and Brooklyn Nets. Mills was a guard on the Spurs when they played the Heat in the NBA Finals in 2013 and 2014. Mills last played for the Atlanta Hawks. The decision was easy for the Heat, who lost point guard Drew Smith for the season earlier this year. The Heat returned to action Tuesday night against the Detroit Pistons at Kaseya Center. The Heat and Pistons meet for the second of 4 matchups this regular season. Earlier this season, Miami recorded a 103-102 win on opening night against Detroit and has now won 3 straight against the Pistons, including 8 of the last 10 overall. Last season, Miami won the series, 2-1. The Heat are 68-57 all-time versus Detroit during the regular season, including 38-24 in home games and 30-33 in road games. Heat coach Erik Spoelstra, after Saturday's victory against the Utah Jazz, "When Bam and Jimmy play with that competitive spirit and are connected from a competitive standpoint, our guys feel like we can beat anyone." Miami Heat vs Detroit Pistons injury report: Tyler Herro, Kevin Love remains sidelined. Patrick "Sammy" Mills AM, born August 11, 1988, is an Australian professional basketball player for the Miami Heat of the National Basketball Association, NBA. Mills was born and raised in Canberra, and is of Torres Strait Islander and Aboriginal Australian descent. In 2007, he became the 3rd Indigenous basketball player to play for the Australian national team. Mills was selected by the Portland Trail Blazers with the 55th overall pick in the 2009 NBA draft after playing 2 years of college basketball for the St. Mary's Gales. Mills played for the Portland Trail Blazers for 2 seasons. In 2011, during the NBA lockout, he played for the Melbourne Tigers of the National Basketball League, NBL, and for the Xinjiang Flying Tigers in China. Mills returned to the United States in March 2012 and signed with the San Antonio Spurs. He became a strong contributor off the bench and helped the Spurs win the 2014 NBA championship. In 2021, he led the Australian Boomers to their first ever Olympic medal at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. And you fan, what do you think of the Patty Mills situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.